All right, shalom,
Shalom.
and welcome to another new moon celebration. A new moon is a new month. This is what governs our timekeeping. We know that man has set up and orchestrated their way of keeping time, but Yahweh has given us some things that, quite frankly, we don't pay enough attention to. Because if we paid a little bit more attention to the moon, the sun, the stars on a daily basis, we would begin to notice that there are changes in the sky, that there are strange things going on. But the whole system of the moon is constant. This is how we can tell what our months are. Our calendar is not a solar calendar, it's not a lunar calendar. According to this book, it is both. It is a solar slash lunar calendar. Both of those things have to be taken into account for us to um, keep all our holy days in the season that they're supposed to be in. And because Yahweh is giving man all of the increase out of the earth that he needs, Yahweh has all of those holy days set around those things when we are gathering in all of the things that he has given us to sustain ourselves. The way society is set up today, we don't even have an opportunity to even give thought to that Yahweh has provided for these things. The big business conglomerates would have us think that they make all of these things possible. But we're going to begin tonight in Deuteronomy chapter 34. And we're going to read verses 1 through 12.
Deuteronomy chapter 34 and verse 1. And Moshe went up from the plains of Moab onto the mountain of Nebo to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho. And Yahweh showed him all the land of Gilead unto Dan, and all Naphtali, and all the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, and all the land of Yehudah unto the utmost sea, and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, unto Zoar. And Yahweh said unto him, This is the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Esaac, and unto Jacob, saying, I will give it unto your seed. I have caused you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over thither. So Moshe, the servant of Yahweh, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of Yah. And he buried him in the valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor. But no man knows of his sepulture unto this day.
Right. As Yahweh dealt face to face with Moshe, Moshe's life was completely different than anybody else's. So when it came time to deal with him on this level, it was different than from what he had done with any other man as well. Go ahead.
And Moshe was 120 years old when he died. His eyes was not dim, nor his natural force abated. And the children of Israel wept for Moshe in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moshe were ended.
Right. You find that grief is going to come upon all of us at one point or another in our lives. But Yahweh has orchestrated a situation or set forth that those weeping periods must be a weeping period. And when those days are set and done, we must then move on with all of the things that we must accomplish in this life. Go ahead.
And Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moshe had laid his hands upon him.
Right. When you look at this, Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit of wisdom because Moshe had laid his hands upon him. He had given him a charge. Then you consider what's happening here in the beginning of the book, and then you think about what happened when there was a question, and they said, um, "Have you received the Holy Spirit since you believed?" And they asked the statement came out, "We have not even heard as so much as if there be a Holy Spirit." And the question was, well, then what? Then were you baptized? Once they then got the baptism in Yeshua's name, because they had received the baptism of Yohanan, then when hands were laid upon them, they received the Spirit. After they had their baptism, they had hands laid on them. After that, they then received the Spirit. You then hear this situation in the beginning, before any of all of these things are set in place, that Moshe has laid his hand upon Yahshua, and he has the spirit of wisdom. So the same concept of things that you find in the New Testament, if you pay attention, you see the foundation of that very thing in the Old Testament, setting the foundation for those things that you're going to see later on. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 34 and the end of verse 9. And the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moshe, whom Yah knew face to face. In all the signs and the wonders which Yahweh sent him to do in the land of Egypt to Pharaoh, and to all his servants, and to all his land, and in all that mighty hand, and in all the great terror which Moshe showed in the sight of all Israel.
All that great terror which Moshe showed in the sight of all Israel. This thing was something very great to be shown in front of a people, but it also made us extremely accountable. See, in one breath, the children of Israel brag about who we are and the things that we have encountered. What we don't understand is that also makes us highly accountable. Yahweh then says, I showed all of these things unto your forefathers. I showed all of these things unto your ancestors. That then makes you highly chargeable. This is why in any situation you find that we will always get punished more than everybody else. There will be other nationalities, there will be other people, and Yahweh does this on so many different levels. If you look at a situation between two different ethnicities of people, one person does something from this ethnic group, another person does something from this ethnic group, we're going to get punished higher. We, of course, will call that racism. But let me tell you how much deeper Yahweh then goes. Then you have within us who are natural Israel versus those who know that we are spiritual Israel. Yahweh then cuts and draws a line even different when it comes down to us, because after we have received our baptism and after we begin to walk and we have learned to walk, for us to then come off of that path, not because we were ignorant. See, so I will say in a minute, I was given grace because I did it ignorantly in unbelief. There are situations where we know that there are baptized individuals who were not fooled or were not in a situation where they were ignorant as to what was happening. They just made a decision. You find that Yahweh draws that line in dealing with them a lot sharper than he would deal with somebody else not in the word who has not been shown. But I mean, it makes, perfect sense. If we have a 5-year-old and we have a 20-year-old and we come home and the house is tore up, who are the parents going to hold more accountable? The 5-year-old or the 20-year-old? The one who knows better, who's supposed to know better, that one is going to get dealt with more harshly than the other. And that's the same way that Yahweh deals with us. You have been taught, you have been communicated with out of this book. So for us to then fall to that. Now, there's not any of us, there's not one perfect. That's not the drive here. There's situations and circumstances that we may enter in where we did not deal with that particular thing favorably. Hopefully, we grow in that and those things become less and less. But when we just decide that we're going to fall away from the things that Yahweh has given unto us and take another direction, we have gotten ourselves into some things. Now, when we deal with this mourning period that Yahweh has here, dealing with Moshe, and we know that Moshe was highly respected among the children of Israel, and it was a very great man, and we know the greatest when it comes down to who has dealt with Yahweh face to face. We find in Numbers 20 and 29, it says, and when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, they mourned for Aaron 30 days, even all the house of Israel. So you see that there is consistency with this mourning period when it comes down to mourning the loss of loved ones. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 4 through 9.
Verse 4. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created in the day that Yahweh Elohim made the earth and the heavens.
Right. In verse 3, right before that, it says, and Elohim blessed the seventh day, sanctified it. He separated it. It was set apart. It was completely different than any other day because it was the day that he rested in, because that in it he had rested from all his work, which Elohim created and made. So when people say, the Sabbath is for Jews, or the Sabbath is for Israelites, I always ask, so where do you live? Are you on this earth? Because there is no Israel set up as far as a nation when he blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. There's no nation set out. There is no holy law. There is none of those things. You have that this is a set apart day because it has something to do with his work and the things that he did to create this earth, our dwelling place. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, where Yahweh Elohim had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground.
He had not caused it to rain upon the earth. Go ahead.
But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground.
There went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. Now, man then takes these things and see if they can mimic it. And if you look at a few of those videos and documentaries on their cloud making machines, you'll find this same stuff, that they are really doing this stuff and making the clouds. The clouds then float up from, they have cloud making machines that are on the ground. They shoot them up in the air. They suck up, moisture and the stuff that they already have in the cloud. And within that, they can then make it rain. So man is actively playing Yahweh, doing their best to control things that are out of man's reach. And what's going to happen is sooner or later we're going to end up having some problems from all of man's attempting to toy with Yahweh's environment. Sooner or later, the environment is going to strike back. It's only a matter of time that they can keep on tinkling with things, and it just keeps building and building. It's like the whole situation with trying to get oil. They go through this process of fracking, and they know that it causes earthquakes, and it just destroys the entire ecosystem of that area. But because they're trying to make money, and they love that money, they continue to do that to an area and completely destroy that area. But sooner or later, the area strikes back. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And Yahweh Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
So Yahweh Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground. So then we find that this ground then is a living entity. There are living elements within this earth, this dirt. And this is what man was formed out of, and then breath was breathed into his nostrils. To this day, if somebody pass out, they say they stop breathing. They hold your nose, start blowing in your mouth to try to get you to breathe again. So at that point, they're trying to jumpstart that body. So this body done shut down. Let's see if we can jumpstart it. And they blow air back into that body. Go ahead.
And Yahweh Elohim planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made Yahweh Elohim to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
So then this earth that Yahweh made us out of, he also made to grow out of it everything that the man was going to need. So how we treat the earth then definitely has to come into play at some point, because this is the place that we were formed out of, and all of our sustenance, all the things to sustain us, is also going to come out of it. Let's go to chapter 3 and start that at verse 17.
And unto Adam he said, because you have hearkened unto the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you,
And now
saying,
the first part of this, with all of this, Yahweh deals with everybody involved when there is a problem. Okay, whenever there's a transgression, whenever there's an issue, Yahweh deals with every entity that's involved, and everybody who is involved gets their share of the punishment as it pertains to what they did in the situation. So the woman gets punished, the man gets punished, and the serpent that was used to do all of this gets punished as well. Everybody in it get a piece of the punishment. This is why, when it comes down to things that happen, you find people that will run to you to try and tell you their story first, because they want to separate, try to get the least amount of punishment, and most times try not to get any part of the punishment, so they can act as if they didn't have anything to do with the situation. And man attempts this as well. It was this woman you gave me. I myself, I would have been fine. See, but it was this woman, and then she said, and you should eat this, and then that's why, because, but I wouldn't have done it had I been by myself. See. So had you not given me her, me and you would be cool. Yahweh didn't buy it either. And you know what's sad? It's 2020 and men still doing that. But at least he was cowardly enough to mention it. These cowardly lions now will blame their wife without even saying it. Well, you know, I did it because of such and such. Whatever your reasons, it don't matter. Yahweh is very pinpoint accurate with his stuff. Did you do what I told you to do? Or did you not do it? Are you going to receive job well done, or get this person out in front of me, there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth? And get somebody in here who will do the job. How well we formulate the excuse is of no consequence to Yahweh. And we should see that with the angels. The angels don't give out excuses. What they do is hand out punishment for whoever get in the way. And Yahweh, as much as he loved Moshe, he warned Moshe, I'm going to send an angel to lead you in the way, but don't you provoke him. He will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. That statement, Yahweh was letting him know this angel does not have to ask by permission to kill you. He already has it. It is implied with the job. When he talk, he gonna say, thus says Yahweh. This is why I tell people you have to be, really skeptical about a book who has that has every angel's name in it. Because the angels speak in the name of Yahweh. So I ask people, they say, there's a book of Enoch that's got all the angels' name in it. All right, well, look, I got one question. What's the name of the angel that led Moshe? What's his name again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear nothing. Did you hear something? What's his name? Because, obviously, that's the most famous angel around town. Look at all the work that he did. He led a whole nation of people out of another nation. What's his name again? Oh, that ain't in the book of Enoch. But every angel's name is there, but apparently he wasn't around when Enoch was naming angels. That dude, he wasn't there yet. He was like a teenage angel, then. He must have been in angel preschool. He was just now learning how to break the crackers on the line. At that point, he hadn't learned how to defeat Pharaoh yet. Right. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 17, and unto Adam he said, because you have hearkened unto the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it.
I commanded you, but you made a decision to listen to your wife. This makes a man unusable unto Yahweh. Now, does that mean a man is not supposed to listen to his wife? Absolutely not. But you have to, as a man, discern which things are earworthy and which things are not. If my wife tell me, okay, you look a little sleepy, you should probably not drive, that's probably good information. When she tells me that I should probably buy her this skirt because it's the sale ends today, that's I don't have to listen to that information. You understand what I'm trying to say? You need to know which one is acceptable, huh? Otherwise, you throw out the good stuff with the bad. I ain't gonna listen to her. So then now she come and tell you something good. You don't need to drive. You look sleepy. No, you just tried to get me to buy that skirt. See? Now you done throw out the good stuff. See, now you done throw out the wrong stuff. See, that was you supposed to keep. Go ahead.
Cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow shall you eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face shall you eat bread.
In the sweat of your face, you're going to work for it now. Man had the ability to stick his hand in the ground and bring out whatever he wanted. That's a living entity. It brought forth you. It bring forth, out of that ground comes trees that are stories among stories high. It came out of the same ground that you came out of. All the vegetation that we eat comes out of that. The minerals, the heat, the medicine comes out of that. And we had our ability to stick our hand in and grab whatever we wanted. Can you imagine somebody just being sick and stick their hand in the ground, grab something, and heal themselves on the way home? See, we lost a great deal by deciding that we are going to listen to any other entity other than what Yahweh has put in front of us. And you know what man does? Constantly try to get you to listen to something else.
Here, check this out. You should listen to this. Listen, look at how they say God. God. Here, listen to that.
Right. This is one of, we can get in the end of this book and we can read about fire and brimstone, not knowing this was one of the biggest losses man suffered. Because in this, we were separated from Yahweh, our Elohim. We were separated from the paradise that was given unto us. We lost power, enormous amount of power with Yahweh, our Elohim. Go ahead.
In the sweat of your face shall you eat bread, till you return unto the ground. For out of it was you taken, for dust you are, and unto dust shall you return.
So now Yahweh has to then give us this ordination of burial, because of this, now man is going to have to die. There was no talk about what was going to happen in man's death because he wasn't supposed to die. Man was made in the image and likeness of Elohim. Elohim ain't gonna die. So he created man. Man wasn't supposed to die. Man doesn't have an ability to reproduce himself like a god on that level. So we produce a way for man to recreate himself. Man then takes the creation and magnifies the creation over the creator. This woman was created for the man. Man then takes the woman and places her above the creator. Absolute no-no. And we have dearly paid for those decisions. Yahweh did give the woman unto the man, but in anything we get, it is our responsibility to get the instruction manual and learn how to use it. You can't get a car, forget where the blinker's at, run over somebody, and then tell me,
With these newfangled cars, I did this, but the blinker didn't come on.
well, these blinkers got a touch button.
Well, I'm not used to that.
Who the hell fault is that? This your vehicle, right? Yeah. Well, it's your responsibility to learn the vehicle that you have. Yahweh said, all right, here, this is yours. It's your responsibility to learn how it works. You have to learn how this works. And you find out that as Yahweh gave the woman unto the man, you find out, oh, it don't work like the man worked. See? So you holler at a man, he just holler back at you. You find out you holler at the woman, you know what I'm saying? The whole life just changed. What happened? hollered at this other man over here. We was fine. Hollered at this woman. It was last week. Ain't no food been out here all week. You got to find out it don't work like you work. You got to figure out how that works. And each one work differently. So just because you get one, yeah, I know how they work. No, you know how that one works. That has absolutely nothing to do with that one and that one and that one. All those work differently. Go ahead, brother. Did you finish that?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 50. Genesis chapter 50, and let's start that at verse 1.
And Joseph fell upon his father's face, and wept upon him, and kissed him. And Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father, and the physicians embalmed Israel.
Right. So now we have to get into this thing when we deal with now, because death has now been orchestrated, has been ordained a way that we have to deal with burial. Before the sin of man, it was not anything that was discussed because man was supposed to live forever. When you get down and even look at the times, you have people living 900 years. All that time was continually cut short, and it was really the grace of Yahweh Elohim that he cut those lives short. Because what was happening is man was having a enormous amount of sin that they had to answer for. Cutting down that lifespan, especially when that life is being lived incorrectly, is a form of grace to keep man from having this court date that he can't possibly win. See, when the police catch you and it was your second time distributing whatever that product was, you got 2 charges. When they investigate you and let you distribute that product about 76 times and then bring the case against you with 76 counts, you're probably not going home with 76 counts. With 2 counts, you might go home. So the biggest blessing was that you get caught early. So he can go ahead and give you that early whooping. And you learn, no, I ain't doing that right now. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And 40 days were fulfilled for him, for so are fulfilled the days of those that are embalmed. And the Egyptians mourned for him 70 days.
Mm-hmm.
And when the days of his mourning were past, Joseph spake unto the house of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found grace in your eyes, speak, I pray you, in the ears of Pharaoh, saying.
Now, you find that the Egyptians do things one way. The children of Israel do things a different way. But you see how once our people have become enveloped into their system, we then start picking up the things that are around us in other nations. We start mourning like they mourn. Because other nations, Yahweh says that from the dust man came, to the dust man shall return. We start watching other nations. Now, other nations cremate their remains. They set the bodies on fire. Then we start picking it up. Some of them set the bodies on fire and push it out into the ocean. Then we see that from other nations, and then we pick it up. So, being amongst these Egyptians, they mourn for 70 days. That's 70 days. Our mourning was 30. But now once we, among other people, now we now feel a lot of times compelled to mourn like other individuals. You ever went to a funeral and people are competing for who hurt the most? Next thing you know, somebody done jumped in the casket. Oh my God, come on. Now it's a competition for who hurt the most.
I was closer to him than you was. No, you wasn't.
Right. Because now their system of mourning is based on this emotional show. There are no guidelines at this point. Go ahead, bro.
My father made me swear, saying, Lo, I die. In my grave which I have digged for me in the land of Canaan, there shall you bury me. Now therefore let me go up, I pray you, and bury my father, and I'll come again. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father, according as he made you swear. And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Egypt, and all the house of Joseph, and his brethren, and his father's house.
And this lets you know just how great of a man Joseph became in Egypt, that the powerful people had to go with him to pay their respect. This lets you know how far he was up that ladder. But at the end of the day, as time passed, you find that none of that mattered when they got figured out that we just multiplied too much and we were different among them. They had no problem enslaving us and no problem saying that, you know, we were saved from being destroyed as a nation because of these people. They didn't care nothing about that. All they cared about was what was happening right now. Same thing in this country. They don't care that we built this place. There would be no America without us. They don't care. All they care about is what's going on right now. Go ahead.
Only their little ones and their flocks and their herds they left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond Jordan, and there they mourned with a great and very sore lamentation. And he made a mourning for his father 7 days. And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians. Wherefore the name of it was called Abel Mizraim.
Stop. The name of it was called Abel Mizraim. So when you go and start looking in Genesis and following the names of who Egypt is, you're going to find Mizraim. When you go to those names, you find out that those are Hamites, or who we so-called call Africans. I don't even like that term because they mix in a whole lot of things there. But you find that Ham means burnt black. So when they then give us a Hollywood story of an Egyptian, and they bring out Becky with the good hair.
Hello, I'm Egyptian.
No, you might live in Egypt, but you ain't no Egyptian. Go ahead, bro.
Which is beyond Jordan. And his sons did unto him according as he commanded them. For his sons carried him into the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham bought with the field for a possession of a burying place from Ephron the Hittite, before Mamre. And Joseph returned into Egypt, he and his brethren, and all that went up with him to bury his father, after he had buried his father.
Right. Go to this next graphic so we can read this thing of embalmed, because embalmed has taken on a different meaning over time. Embalm, to spice, by implication to embalm, also to ripen. It also says Egyptian embalming involved the removal of organs to dry them before returning them to the body. You have to understand that the Egyptians believed that they would enter back into that body in their afterlife. And some of the situation of Egyptian royalty, they buried live servants with the dead person. So that, when they woke up, they would already have them some servants. That's a bad servant life, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
So they finna close you up in this tomb live with the dead guy. So when you wake up, you still his servant. Right. Let's go to Matthew chapter 26.
Matthew chapter 26 and verse 1. And it came to pass, when Yahshua had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, You know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified.
Right. And if you pay attention, around the holy days is when you have the most betrayal. Because then you got to deal with everybody when the holy days come. Here come Holy Day Charles. You ain't seen him in a month of Sundays. But it come to a Holy Day Charles is there. He ain't did nothing else. He done partied the whole time, taking care of himself, doing whatever he want to do. Come the holidays, here he come. What Lucifer do? We're reading Job. It came a time for all the sons of Elohim to make their appearance. Who comes? Who does the cat drag in? Here come Lou. Hey, where you come from? Oh man, from, being in the earth, walking up and down in it, doing what I do. Right. But when it came time for the holiday, here he come. He wasn't around for nothing else. Go ahead.
Then assembled together the chief priests and the scribes and the elders of the people unto the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas, and consulted that they might take Yahshua by subtlety and kill him.
Right. So they appear with pomp and circumstance, but the whole time they're planning a murder. Some of them shaloms we receive have absolutely no peace in them whatsoever. They done forgot what they mean. Go ahead.
But they said, Not on the feast day.
Not on the feast day. Let's wait till after the feast. It's not good to do evil on a good day.
When the hell is it good to do evil? I mean, if you're at war, then it's time to kill. But did Yahweh orchestrate that war, or is that your own personal war? Go ahead.
Lest there be an uproar among the people. Now when Yahshua was in Bethany, in the house of Simeon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head, as he sat at meat. But when the disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, To what purpose is this waste?
Right. Now, when you deal with Yahshua, and here comes, he never misses an opportunity to teach, okay? Here comes an opportunity for him to deal with his disciples. He didn't just let things slide because, these my boys, they say something wrong, I ain't gonna really say nothing because, we tight like that. No. We're gonna take care of this business so that next time when you go out, you are going to deal with that particular thing correctly. So they upset with the woman because, hey man, she's wasting stuff. We out here doing good deeds, man. She making problems. Go ahead.
For this ointment might have been sold for much, and given to the poor. When Yahshua understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble you the woman? For she has wrought a good work upon me.
Right. Now see, some would have never said that to have a problem with their clique. Go ahead.
For you have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that she has poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial.
She poured this ointment on my body. She has done this for my burial. When you deal with what they have for embalming, it says to spice. When you think about what did they do when the Messiah passed, what they did, it says they took spices and wrapped the body in linen. That way poor people could afford to still bury. They could have spices, oils, and have this linen and wound the body up in that. Now, you go to one of them funeral death houses, and they want $10,000 for you even get to sit down. You don't get to make the appointment. Go ahead.
Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman has done, be told for a memorial of her. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests, and said unto them, What will you give me? And I will deliver him unto you. And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver.
Right. How much is your salvation worth? That 30 pieces of silver might seem like it was good money at the time. I mean, crazy as it seems, 30 pieces of silver would probably be very valuable right now. I went to Quick Trip, bought something. They gave me a receipt with a voucher on it. I said, what the hell is this?
This is your change.
No, this is a piece of paper. This is not my change. My change jingles. All right? What the hell is my change?
So you next time you come back and you give us this receipt and we'll add that much money
on your. Yeah, but ain't this that smooth paper? You know that smooth paper, the words disappear off it. So I come up in there with a blank piece of paper.
Here you go. I was supposed to have 57 cents on that. No, sir, you have nothing on here. You should have came before the words left.
How the hell I know when the words gonna leave? Read, man.
And from that time he sought opportunity to betray him.
He sought opportunity to betray him. Like I said, a lot of interesting things happen when it comes down to those holy days, and you have to wonder who's seeking opportunity to betray who. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Ecclesiastes chapter 3.
Verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven.
Right. It is imperative that we discern the time that we're in. Least you find yourself in some serious problems because you don't understand what's happening at that particular time. If you show up with roses and everybody else got shotguns, I would say you have not discerned the time very well. Go ahead.
A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak.
A time to keep silence and a time to speak. Do you understand the difference in those times? It is written, when I'm in the presence of my enemies, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. Why? Because them snakes are going to twist every last word that come out of your mouth and use it against you. Folks will turn around and ask you how you feel about something and then run to that person.
You know, they said this about you, Kish.
Now, they didn't even say nothing about it. You asked them such and such. Then turn around and twisted those words and went directly to that person. Go ahead.
A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. What profit has he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which Elohim has given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He has made everything beautiful in his time. Also he has set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that Elohim maketh from the beginning to the end. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life. And also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of Elohim. I know that whatsoever Elohim does, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And Elohim does it, that men should fear before him. That which has been is now, and that which is to be has already been, and Elohim requires that which is past. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that lawlessness was there. I said in my heart, Elohim shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that Elohim might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. For that which befalleth the sons of man befalleth beasts. Even one thing befalleth them. As the one dies, so dieth the other. Yes, they have all one breath, so that a man has no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity.
Right. Beasts are sacrificed. Their blood must be shed for sin. And when we deal with this great battle that must be fought on earth, all of those man beasts will have to shed their blood to make atonement for sin on earth. So just as those beasts were sacrificed during our sacrifices, Yahweh says when it comes down to that great battle of Armageddon, he says, come to this great sacrifice, this great supper, that he's going to sacrifice these man beasts and let the fowls of the air have their way with all the carcasses that are left. Go ahead.
All go on to one place. All are of the dust, and all turn to dust again.
All go unto one place. And this is not what we find here on earth. As it is written, Yahweh has made man upright, but man has made many inventions. Go ahead.
Who knows the spirit of man that goes upward, and the spirit of the beast that goes downward to the earth? Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him?
All right, that is all that we're going to do for tonight. Enjoy your new moon, new month. Shalom.
Shalom.